All too often, we look at ourselves and think we're just not good enough. We look around and we see everybody and we think that they're better than us. Probably it's because social media these days, everybody curates their life and puts it online and shows their best side. But that isn't really the truth. And it's just to make themselves feel better most of the time. Because the problem is that most of us don't think that we're anything special. And it couldn't be further from the truth, you know. We spend too much of our time beating ourselves up, looking at the faults that we've got, and berating ourselves for the things that we think we should do better. But you know what? That's not important at all. Because within all of us, we've got this innate goodness. You may not think so, but you have. And you make an impression on lots of people's lives. You may not think so, but you do. You see, each of us have got different abilities. Some of us are outgoing. Others of us, like me, are more introverted unless you're around the people that you know. We look at people around us and we wish that we could be more like them. But the truth of the matter is, we're only seeing them through our eyes. You and I could see someone and we'd see them differently. Both of us would. But the thing is, there's good in all of us. We've all got abilities that others don't have. You've all got qualities that you don't realize because they're inside you. It's normal to you. And it's really important, you know, that you don't berate yourself and take yourself at a lower level than you should. Because if you think you're not special, I'm here to tell you that you are. And what's brought this about is something I read the other day. I've printed it off. I'm just going to read it to you because I think it's great. And it goes, you might think that you don't matter in this world, but because of you, someone has a favourite mug to drink their tea out of each morning that you bought them. Someone hears a song on the radio and they think of you. Someone's read a book that you recommended to them and they've got lost in those pages because of you. Someone's remembered a joke that you told them and laughed to themselves about it while they're on the way to town in a bus. Never think you don't make an impact. Your fingerprints can't be wiped away from the little marks of kindness that you've left behind. All those things seem innocuous. They don't seem like anything special. But the very first thing talked about on here brings something back to me. I want to tell you about me and my cousin James. We've been together, obviously, since we were kids. I'm 5 years older than him. And so he's like a little brother in a way. And we've grown up together and we've had so much in common. But I want to tell you this little story about when we were boys. I would have been about 10 and as he'd have been about 5, 6 maybe. And there was this toy called the Johnny 7 one-man army. And it was a gun. And it was a lovely gun. And it was the best toy I ever had and the best toy he ever had. And we used to play together with it. And during one of our games playing with them together, there's a little rocket that shoots off the top of the gun. And it got shot off. And he lost his one. And for years and years, he's always said that I stole it and that I had this gun. And about 15 years ago, we were talking about this. You know how you do when you talk about your memories and that. And we were talking about this and we laughed about it. And he said to me, you've still got them, haven't you? You've still got my little rocket launch. And he laughed. And we left the subject and never thought any more of it. And then about a week later, I got a parcel in the post. Didn't know what it was. Didn't know who it was from. But it turned out to be a mug. This mug. It's 15 years old now. And James sent me this mug. And every single time I look at it, I think of him. It's battered. It's beaten up. Like all of the transfers coming off of it. But there's the gun. And there's the little rocket he thought I stole. So this is why you never know the impact you make. I talked about the mug. This is the mug. And I still think about it all the time. And it makes me smile every time I see this mug. But that's James. And I want to talk about two other people. One is someone called Dean. When I was 17, as you know, probably if you've watched me before, you know I come from a fairground family. And I went to stop with my sister, and they were open at a park in Basildon in Essex. And I went from the coast and had a ride up there and stopped with my sister for the week. And I didn't know anybody on the ground, on the fairground. I didn't know anyone, I didn't think. But I did know one person. I saw her walking across the ground one day. And so one night before the fairground opened, I decided to go over the pub because everyone was going. And I saw this girl and I was over talking to her. And all of a sudden, this young lad, bigger than me, his name was Dean. And he came over and asked her if he was all right because he thought I was a stranger because he didn't know who I was. And she introduced me to him and told him who I was. And from that day on that fairground, he came around and got me every time they went out. He introduced me to people all the way around the ground and made me feel part of everything. 40 odd years later, I still haven't forgotten that. And I thanked him a couple of years ago for it. And he was like, I didn't even remember. But it stuck with me. It was something that I thought he'd probably forgotten all about anyway. But because of his kindness back then, it made me feel good. And finally, I want to talk about someone called Edmund. Edmund was my first wife's first cousin. And when my marriage broke up, I moved to where I live now, here in Cambridgeshire, and he lived about 20 miles away from me. And I got a phone call from him one day when I first moved here. I was in the supermarket buying some shopping, and my phone went off, and I saw Edmund's name on there, and I thought, oh, here we go. And he rang me up, and he went, all right, Murph, how you going? I went, all right, I'm all right, thanks. He went, look, Carol's my cousin, you're my friend. I know your marriage is broken up, and I don't want to know what's the cause of it. It's none of my business. What I want you to know is that if you need anything, just give me a call. I'm only up the road. I'll do anything I can to help you. Man, that stood out to me. I hadn't seen Edmund in at least 10 years before that phone call. We hadn't kept in touch a lot, the occasional phone call, that was all. But what he did made such an impact on me. He died a couple of years ago. I miss him terribly because he'd phone me up and we'd just chat for hours. It stopped me from getting on with any of the work that I had to do because he'd just chat and chat and chat. And they're examples of people who did something that I don't think they thought was of very much importance to them at all, but they were important to me. And because of that, there are times when things happen and those memories come back to me. And I remember just how good they were to me. Now let's flip this on you. How many times have you done something for somebody else that isn't anything special, but you've probably forgotten about it? But the thing is, you did it. And because of that, there is someone out there who at some stage through in the course of a day or a week or every now and again will think something and it will come back to you because you've made an impact on their life. You see, that's the thing. You beat yourself up. You don't think you're important. You think you're nothing special. But today I'm here to tell you that you are. You are something special. There are people walking about in this world today who will look back and think of you with a smile on their face and joy in their hearts because of something you said, something you did. And when you're feeling down, you need to remember that because it's so important. Because when you're beating yourself up, you forget the good things that you've done, the good things you've done to people, the things that you've said or recommended or given. Like this mug. It said it in this thing that I read. Your fingerprints can't be wiped away from the little marks of kindness that you've left behind. Never forget that. You're way more important than you ever thought you were. And that's it from me today. And if you look up there, in that video, I'm going to tell you how to stop caring about what other people think of you. Because if you can stop doing that, you'll have more time to think about you being better than you think you are. I'll see you next time.